All right. Good evening, Aidan, Cyboxic, and welcome to your second zero session here for our third campaign here at Friday Night Dice.
Uh, Doing too many of these.
What are you talking about? You haven't done enough of them.
You're right.
So let's go ahead and jump into it because this is some deep shit.
Yeah, I would love to apologize for what I left open for you. I basically
Oh,
wrote an outline and then said, "Here, you deal with it." And
and
it's
I had a lot of fun
truthfully,
with it.
truthfully, this character, if anybody ever watches this, I kind of wanted to go on record. Is this is the most open-ended character I've ever written. Usually, I write my characters a little bit more like start end goal. Like this is the progression. This is the kind of story I'm trying to tell.
Yep.
Nope. For this one, I created something that was already, well, you'll see, enigmatic and weird. And whatever the fuck Matt does with it is whatever he does with it. I don't know what's gonna happen.
By the end of this,
I have no idea what is gonna happen.
by the end of this session, I think we'll see the classic Cyboxic shocked face that happens so often when I drop shit on you in campaign.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of, I should probably create a new section of my notes for this character
so
in my wonderful notebook. Notebook. Sorry.
let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
All right. Our story begins in the small village of Azara-e, a quiet village hidden away deep within the Frosty Mountains on the banks of a small river that is fed by the natural hot springs of the Frosty Mountains. It's a special night for you, as two of the tribe members who you have come to call friends have convinced your parents and the tribal elders to allow you to partake in an ancient coming of age ceremony, a ritual that all members of the tribe must face, but are then assigned their roles in the tribe. While it was frowned upon by the Telarake, the tribal council of your village, you wanted to please your adoptive parents and feel useful to the tribe. You followed Resh and Saki as you made your way to the Makaya. Making your way up the stone stairs carved into the side of the mountain, you come through the perilous pass that is meant to be somewhat of a journey and an awakening, a test of sorts, where you eventually come to the sacred grounds known to your tribe as the Makaya. Off in the distance, you can see a massive waterfall that is bisected by a massive stone statue of an elven woman with her hands clenched together above her head. About halfway down in the center of her chest, you can see there are four spherical recesses, something that is missing, or perhaps something that was removed. You know this to be Katera, the founder of your village, and you watch as the waters split to either side of her and fall into the crystal clear blue pools that surround this sacred site. You can see in the center a singular tree, almost like a weeping willow, with thousands of vines falling off of all of its branches, and an almost bioluminescent emerald glow to them. The green light dances across the waters, creating a gorgeous infusion of colors. Although located deep in the snowy mountains, this place is comfortable. It's warm. It's odd. The temperature here is tropical almost. You can see the lush grass and the different wildflowers pocketing the areas running throughout here, and the crystal clear blue waters that run around are not frozen over, unlike most of the areas here in the Frosty Mountain. Saki comes over. Well, the rest is going to be up to you. You must figure out the rest on your own. And you watch as your two friends both depart back around the corner of the mountain pass, and you watch as Resh looks back. We'll be waiting for you when this is over.
I will be there.
Well, you walk over to the tree and you sit down under, not completely sure of what you're supposed to do. You focus on the statue under the waterfall and almost fall into a short trance. As you look up, you can see there are small green motes of light floating through the air, kind of emanating from the tree. There's a short glimpse of a woman whose face you don't necessarily recognize, but seems familiar to you. No discerning features that you can really tell, almost as if it's blurred out. And as you do, you can see as her fingers reach forward, almost reaching to touch you. And right in that instant, the motes of light begin to glow, almost into a blinding sensation, as the world fades into a bright white light. Not moments later, you awaken, looking out into the world, and you see Resh standing above you. taking a nice nap now, are we?
I. How long has it been? You just left? Did I
It's been 6 hours.
did I fail?
No, everybody reacts in their same way, but or everybody reacts in their own ways, but the outcome's normally the same. You're usually awake from a dream sort of state. Uh, I wouldn't feel too concerned about it.
But I can't remember anything from what just happened.
Well, it's more of a something that'll come to you. It'll show short glimpses throughout your life, and it'll make its purpose known to you whenever it's needed.
And that's my rite of passage.
More or less. When the time comes, the visions will come again, and in that instance, you'll know what you need to do.
Thank you, Resh. I'm not sure what, what I would do, who I would be if it wasn't for you and Sakia.
Well, we are here for you. Let us make our way back down. Tell the elders you have completed.
I don't feel like I attained a victory necessarily, but if it's not out of the ordinary, then I'm happy to be ordinary.
Well, you're far from ordinary. We all know that.
Sometimes I wish I was.
Well, maybe in due time. So, as you get up and you follow your two friends back down to the village, you meet with Alondra, one of the tribal leaders, one of the elders that you were have come to know in your time here. You tell her of what you saw, and in that instance, you notice there's something different, a different sensation that almost washes over your body, and that you feel like you could almost manipulate the minds of those around you in short glimpses. And as the years go on, you learn to master this ability to take on the form of a human male in the minds of others, a way to mask your true identity. But on one day, on a return from a successful 3-day hunt in the Silver Thicket, you return to your village that has been recently attacked by bandits, almost as if they were searching for something. You quickly rush over and aid a few tribal members who have been gravely hurt and brought back from the brink of death. And it wasn't long after that you and Resh pick up the trail of the bandits leading out of the village towards the river, deeper into the mountains. You both gather capable hunters and fellow men and women, or men that were not hurt, and follow the trail for nearly a day, pushing onward without rest, till eventually you come through the side of the other side of the base of the Frosty Mountains, in which you can see a massive ship encamped on the shore with a small encampment of tents. You can see Resh has pulled forward. You and Resh have pulled forward, trying to gain a bit of information, telling the others to stand by and wait for your instance. It's at this instance that you see Langris, an elderly man that you have come to acknowledge within the village, another one of the village elders. And as you're listening in from a vantage point, you can overhear the bandits talking about different forms of torture and ways that they can try and get their captive to talk. Not long after, one of the men steps forward. How do I even know this man knows if these orbs exist? If this old man clearly doesn't know anything about a Sombra, we should just kill him and continue on our journey through to Yoldenheim for the next one. A few moments go by, and at the sound of that, Resh runs out, letting out a signal for the rest to join as he springs into action. You all join in and slaughter, for the most part, with very few casualties on your end, the bandits here. Eventually, you see on the side of the ship as the rest of them begin to pile, as the rest of the bandits that do get away pile on, and it pulls away. It reads the Sanguine Rift in bright red letters written on the back of it. As you and Resh free Langris, and you help him back to the village, where he names you the village hero and grants you the title of Meli. And I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, Melly.
Yeah.
You said the Sanguine Rift?
The Sanguine Rift. The years go on, and eventually you, Akari, are well recognized and established member of the tribe. You're beloved by all, and you've even taken on a role of training of some of the tribal children in the art of survival and hunt. It's a happy life for you, one that's content and filled with joy. That is, until that fateful day. It's a day unlike any other. A light snow blankets the ground, and you're returning from your morning hunt with a few snow hares that you've been caught, and you take to drop them off to Anoa to begin prepping them for breakfast. As you sit there in your small hut, you can see as the skies almost begin to darken and turn black in shades of purple from outside the small window you have. You hear the screams of women and children running off in the distance. You hear Resh call out your name, and as you dart outside with your bow in hand, you can see the skies are blanketed in dark clouds. Streaks of purple and black lightning streak across the clouds in almost a chain of manner. And you can see above the skies a shadow above the clouds, a giant, almost serpent-like creature, but there's something strange about it. Its head is massive. Its massive arms with claws coming out of the sides. And as it descends below the clouds, you can see a creature, almost the stuff of imagination, the stuff of nightmares. Spines running down its back of its draconic body, with these four massive arms that appear to have pieces of plate and steel across them. You can see there are massive spines coming out the back. They're made of bone and various different things. It seems as if they're blood-stained. On the face of it, you can see appear to be 7 sets of massive eyes, each of them looking to be maybe almost the size of the hut that you live in. You watch as rays of energy begin to fire from each eye in all different directions, causing everything they touch to burst into flames. And you're almost stunned in horror for a split second as you watch as whole families are turned to ash in a matter of moments. You and your fellow Anoray quickly spring into action to fight off this monstrosity, but your efforts are in vain. As you're looking around, everyone running in terror and massive panic setting in, this beast opens one large eye in the center of its 7. A massive green light begins to pour out, and you watch as everybody that looks on stunned in horror. And it's almost as if an eternity passes, and you look around and notice that everyone in your village but you has been turned to stone. In the coming days, as you're able to account for most, if not everyone, except for 3 of the 5 elders, you come to find your mother, your father, Resh, Saki, Sakai, and countless others. Sakia, god damn it.
Sorry. Didn't write good names.
It's okay. And others, but for some reason it had no effect on you and your metal body. In the coming days, you spent most of the time moving statues of everyone that you could find to the main hall, the meeting hall here within the village, to ensure that they'd be safe. As you barricaded them in and made the building as weatherproof and sturdy as you could, you begin to wonder what comes next. Lost and confused, you don't remember much or have any idea of what to do, but you remember Sekai, God, I think I just said it wrong again. Sakia, telling you an old story. A story of a place far away known as Tygarth Academy. A place full of brilliant minds, and perhaps one of those brilliant minds could help you figure out what happened to your friends and family, and perhaps even turn them back. You gather what you can carry in a rucksack on your back and your weapons, and you begin to make your way to the nearest port, the port of Zastain.
I do want to take some time if I can.
Yeah, go for it.
After getting everyone in the main hall, take a bit of time and I'll head over to Micaiah and this singular willow. And although this is arguably one of the very few times that I've visited without Sakia by my side, I will sit under the willow. The grove, has it changed at all?
Doesn't appear to have changed at all. Maybe the tree has grown a little larger, but over the years, but nothing seems to have changed here within this area.
I just want to close my eyes and concentrate, subroutines, processes, anything I could do to try to make a contact with this presence that I felt, this white burning light that gave me guidance in the past and gave me this place among the Azari people. Azari people. See, I can't even say my own names right.
It's okay. Uh,
Um, and I just gonna reach out the emotions that I've been granted. Feel
sure. Roll a
if
d20 for
there's
me.
if there's anything that I can, any guidance. First roll. 14.
14. Okay. As you're sitting there and you're reaching out, you're searching for some sort of guidance. You're searching for an answer. In a short blip, almost a flash comes through your mind of that almost smiling elven face again. It's washed out and blurry, and you still can't tell who it is or why it seems so familiar to you. But nevertheless, the hand reaches out once more, places it on your shoulder, and you can feel a sense of comfort wash over you, a sense of familiarity. But in just as fast as it came, it leaves.
I remember that day. You chose me. But I didn't choose. I wasn't forced. I wasn't even asked. It was just what had to be. And now I wonder if all of this loss, is something that had to be, or something that happened because of me.
No
I've
response.
lost everything I've known, everything I was given. I am just as I arrived, guideless. I don't know where to go, and I'm wandering out into the unknown world. And I can't remember anything. Can't even remember your face. And now nobody remembers me. If I'm still chosen for this, I'm going to need help. And after a while, I get up and I would like to ascend one of the peaks of the mountains. The
Easy
familiar
enough.
one that I the familiar one that I usually look out at the sunrise and sunset. I just want to survey the land, see if I can go anywhere.
Looking down over the lands, you can see off in the distance here on the northern reaches of the Silver Thicket here, uh, almost the glistening sun blanketing and reflecting off of the sea. And you can feel almost a warm breeze that pushes you towards the east, one that pushes you towards the sea.
I'll follow it.
As you make your way back to town, you say your goodbyes, whether they can hear you or even if they're still alive. You gather what you can carry, your weapons and your rucks, what you can carry in a rucksack, and you make your way across the familiar plains of the Silver Thicket until you come to the edges of the Silver Thicket to the east, to the port of Zastain, a port in which you've seen from the distances of the thicket many times before, but have never once ventured into. But this time's different. This time, you don't have anything to return to. So as you make your way down the dusty path into town, you come into what appears to be a small fishing town. Various pockets of large stone buildings that you get the sense are maybe inns and taverns and other random things. Things that are kind of foreign to you that you've never really been a part of. But again, you can feel that warm breeze kind of pushing through, pushing you closer outwards to the sea. And you make your
What
way
is the
down. Go ahead.
what's the makeup of this town?
Uh,
in terms of species wise?
there are orcs, tieflings, snow elves, goblins, and dark elves, just kind of pocketed throughout. Mainly in this town, there are tieflings and orcs, but you do see pockets of the other races.
Gotcha. I'll uh, I'll keep following the breeze and head towards, I guess, the waterfront.
And
I'm
as you
not
come
familiar
down,
with the layout of towns or anything, but all I've known is a village, a tribal village.
you follow the breeze, and as it pushes you closer towards the dock, you come to a massive, almost stone-built dock. It's a beautifully built mason piece of masonry. This almost, what's the word I'm looking for? A masterpiece here on the banks of the port of Zastane. You can see various boats and things pocketing the different waters, but there's one that catches your eye. Across the side, in massive blue letters, it reads the Siren's Whale, a massive boat made of black wormwood. You can see there are varying different people carrying sets of supplies on and off. You can see intricate designs of almost, what's the word? Beautiful carvings of depictions of people and a story almost in the side of this boat. On the front, you can see a woman has been carved into the front of this boat, that with her arms stretched outwards toward the sea. You can see there's a man standing on the edge of the boat, and he calls out, "We're looking for people to join us on our voyage. We're heading to the Yoldenham Isles, and we need strong, capable men."
I'll kind of just take in the rest of the scene. Is there anything else going on in port that's, I guess, worthy of note?
There's a few men that are coming in and out of town, or a few boats that are coming in and out of town with men on them. It seems as if they're hauling their haul back from sea, essentially from this morning, bringing fish on and off. There's not really much anything else of note, except for maybe a few wandering patrons that are just kind of wandering about. You can see a woman dressed in a long flowing, red cloak that almost seems out of place, a human woman, but not really much else that stands out.
This human woman isn't doing anything too crazy except for wearing a red dress.
Yeah, she's just wearing a very, well, it's red cloak with her hood pulled up.
A red cloak, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not really doing anything that seems too much out of place. Just stands out in the crowd because of not being one of the other races.
Yeah, I guess I'll see if I can kind of come into her path. I'll just say, pardon, I was hoping you could help me. I'm rather lost. I'm looking for a man. I think goes by the name of Tygarth.
Oh,
Uh,
my dear boy, Tygarth is not a man. Is it a place?
a place?
Uh, a school of sorts where men go to study the arcane arts, and well, some just go to learn more about history and the world itself. But it's definitely not a man.
Uh, is it here? As I kind of like look around in the town.
Uh, why no? I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. Another human here within this part of the world. Most humans hail from that edge of the world and would know of Tygarth Academy, but nevertheless, I believe you want to make your way for the Zartlas Empire. Your easiest way would be to gather. You would be able to find a ship that's at least heading that way. Baldwin Port would be my go-to, but Port Midpar would get you just as close.
Baldwin Midpar. Okay. I just want to like look her over. Just if anything is of note, I will take a mental note of it. I'm not like. Keep in mind, I guess the way that I'm gonna try to play Akari as well is like, I don't know that she's wearing a red cloak and that makes her out of place necessarily. She was just
Sure.
a bright figure, and like I don't know half of what she just fucking told me. Like that just
Yeah.
like I have no idea what any of that is. Like the only things I really know is whatever Sakia would
Sure.
have shared with me.
Uh,
But if there's any facial features or distinguishing features of note, I will memorize those as best I can.
uh, Nothing that seems too out of the ordinary. She has bright blue eyes and kind of auburn red hair. Uh, she has a very soft face, a very soft voice. Not really anything else that really is out of the ordinary, something that would stick out.
Thank you. As I go for my wrist, I've got a series of bracelets. They're all of fine make. Some of them were from the the children that I was training to accompany us on hunts and possibly to one day join the Honore. And I will take off one. I hope this travels with you well,
Oh,
and I will
why?
present it
Thank
to her.
you. And what was your name?
My name is Kare.
Well, nice to meet you. My name is Belaya.
Belaya. Well, Belaya, I'm I thank you for your guidance, and I do hope that we meet again. You seem a nice person.
Oh, sure our paths cross again. I hope they are under well terms.
I appreciate it. You said a ship. I'm gonna go find a ship.
Well, there are plenty in town.
Thank you, thank you. And I will make my way over to the guy who was being loud by the siren's wail.
Okay. You make your way over to the Siren's Whale, and the man that is kind of calling out from the side of the boat. What you see before you is a large Goliath man with a dark complexion and almost black tribal-like tattoos that dance all over his body. He's wearing a fine black velvet coat that kind of hangs over with nothing underneath, so you can see those dark tribal tattoos dancing across his well-chiseled chest. As he pulls back his coat, as you kind of approach him with his arms on his hip, or his hands on his hips, you can see a hitch to the side of his belt is some sort of hilt of a firearm, as well as a spyglass on his side. On the other side, on his arm, you can see what appear to be these two hourglasses next to each other. Yeah, I know, but for your visualization, kind of can't talk. Uh, look like a strapping young lad. You looking to travel?
I need to meet a place. I need to meet not a man, a place named Tygarth. I need to go to Tygarth.
Well, we happen to be heading that way. If you're looking for maybe a little work, I could send you with a little bit of coin before you head that way.
Uh, if can I walk there?
Unfortunately, not unless you can breathe underwater.
Right. You said you needed capable hands. What kind of? I'm very good at tracking. I'm very good at. I will do just about anything if you take me to Tygarth.
Well, I'm looking for a navigator right now. Although you don't seem like much of a man for an open seas, but I could always use some strong arms to be help lift cargo and man the cannons.
I I can lift things. Navigator. I might be able to be of help. I spend a lot of time looking at the stars, and I can tell directions. So if you know where you need to go, um, I usually navigate using that.
Well, we're going to be heading north. We're going to make our way down the southern reaches of the Risani Archipelago, and down the southern coast of the Dwinterif Range to Port Midpar. And
Uh,
after we dock at Port Midpar for supplies, we'll be heading to the Yoldenham Isles. After our mission to the Yoldenham Isles, I'd be more than happy to get you an escort to Tygarth Academy.
Sounds great. What do I do next?
Well, grab a case and start carrying on board. And as you look over, you can see there are two young dwarven brothers that are carrying cases of what appear to be black powder up and onto the deck.
I will begin doing whatever it is that they do.
Okay.
I'm gonna basically on the ship. I'm gonna observe people doing things, and if they're doing it, I'm gonna start doing it.
Easy enough. So you look and you see two dwarven brothers that appear to be very well built. They both have black hair, and one being a little bit taller and a darker complexion. And the man looks over to you. Well, if you're going to be working with us, I should at least know your name. I'd like to know the name of my crew.
Oh, I apologize. My name is Akare.
Akari.
Akare the Yeah, Akari oh my god. Vinaye. Can't even
Nice to
say it
meet you,
right.
Akare. I am Captain Breger. I am the captain of the Siren's Whale. Standing right here next to you, these two short men here, and they kind of look up and give him a bit of a scowl. This is Stradmule and Thadmule. They're brothers. They are our shipwrights. They will be taking care of all repairs and needed such things to the ship should we run into any trouble. Looking up on the deck, you can see he points up towards the top of the deck, towards the wheel. That up there, that woman, that is my first mate. That's Ezra. And you can look up, you can see another human woman that is wearing a long flowing brown overcoat with very well made clothes underneath. She has short blonde hair, and as you start to carry boxes up onto the top and she looks down at you, you can see the irises of her eyes are a dancing colors between shades of green, purple, and blue, ever changing as she kind of stares back at you as you carry boxes up onto this ship. And Brigger kind of walks up, puts his hand on your shoulder, and says, don't look Ezra in the eye. She's very... You might get lost in those eyes."
Understood. Who, would you? I'm the one that I follow your demands, your orders, right?
Correct, I am your captain.
I don't know what that is.
Think of me as your leader.
Right. What should I do, leader?
You can just call me Breger, son. Just continue helping Stradmule and Thadmule carry the boxes on board. As soon as those are done, we have one more stop down the southern, as we travel down through the southern reaches of the archipelago, and then we'll be making way for Port Midpar.
Okay, Strad and Thad it is.
And as you look across, you can see Captain Breger call out, our benefactor has arrived. And just kind of peering over the side of the ship to see who he's talking to, you can see a young elven woman has begun to approach. A young snow elf woman has begun to approach the boat. You can see she has very short, almost spiky purple hair with these dark violet tattoos that are kind of blanketing her dark, almost... it's more of an olive-colored skin, but you can tell she's a snow elf. You can see that she's dressed in a almost very skimpy clothes, wearing a very form-clenching crop-top shirt with a deep V into it. On the back of her belt, you can see there are two very large daggers kind of hitched to the back of her belt. And she's wearing this almost long black cloak that's kind of flowing out the back of her. She gets on board. Well, Breger, do you have a crew? He looks back at her. We got everything but a navigator and a powder monkey. We'll find him in our next stop. I promise you that. So you guys kind of gather your things.
It goes without saying the shroud has been up.
Yes,
obviously.
I assumed so.
Otherwise, that would have went very differently.
Well, Akare, why don't you head down below deck and help Stradmule and Thadmule get things organized, and we'll get our boat here out onto the open waters.
Right away, Captain. Captain or Captain Breger?
Just call me Breger, son.
Breger. Right away.
So you go ahead and you begin helping them carry the rest of what appears to be gunpowder underneath the deck, and begin storing it away and kind of organizing underneath deck, as you almost feel like a almost jarring sensation as the boat begins to set out to sea. You can almost... Strange for you, as you don't necessarily have your sea legs, so to speak. But you get used to it after the first hour or so, and as the ship continues down the southern banks of the Velhair territories here to the port of the port city of Bartolas, you guys dock here for a few hours as Ezra and Nagarathu make their way off into town to what you can assume to be look for into this navigator that Breger has been looking for. Not moments later, as you're leaning over the side of the boat, you can see what appears to be, or you hear a loud explosion, and you look as you can see smoke billowing out from the city, and coming running down the road are Ezra and Nagarathu with what appears to be a tiefling man. They get him on board, and he quickly runs underneath the deck in direction of Nagarathu and stows away in one of the empty rooms. You don't really catch a glimpse of much of him, just this purple-skinned tiefling that seems to be running for what appears to be some sort of danger. Ezra quickly comes up deck, explains the situation to Breger, and you guys set off yet again in a very fast manner. He looks down. Well, we didn't find our navigator, but you're gonna have to do. We're gonna travel by night. Go ahead and make a survival check for me. Let's see how well you navigate them with the stars.
As I kind of like am doing, as I'm doing that, I want to ask Breger, what's with the purple man?
I think he's gonna be our new powder monkey. Sounds like he got himself into a bit of trouble, and he's willing to work for cheap.
You said survival.
Yes.
+4. Whoa, brain broken. 21.
Easy enough by following the stars and directing the boat more eastward bound. You guys make your way almost a little more north and kind of curve back around the southern reaches of the Rosani Archipelago and down the Twin Tariff Range. And Breger looks at you. Well, you sure do know how to navigate. That's pretty impressive. Let's see what you can do better when we get into the open. How well you do when we get into the open waters.
I will go ahead and tell you, as a point of order, I do have the background Outlander feature, Wanderer. I have excellent memory for maps and geography. You can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, don't know what any of this shit looks like. Never sailed my fucking life, so I'm using the stars.
Yeah.
And between Breger telling us like which general direction he wants to go,
yeah,
I make sure that we're heading that direction.
Easy enough.
As far as like actually charting a course,
yeah,
that shit's over my head.
So basically what he does is he takes your information and keeps you guys close to the coastlines of the neighboring islands of the Rosani Archipelago, and then instead of traveling what would be faster through the open waters, he keeps you guys closer to the shorelines, kind of traveling down close to the southern reaches of the Twin Tariff Range. So you guys aren't far off, but without your help it would be hard for him to discern which way he needed to go between those islands and around that coastline. So you kind of help him guide that way.
I do want to take some time in order to expand my knowledge as per what Sakia would love for me to do. I do want to take my time and begin to learn how maps work just by looking at the terrain that we're passing by and seeing where Breger thinks that we are on the map.
You would see him referencing
understand what a map looks like. Basically.
You would see him referencing a map.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to use a map. Like, because, Aidan and Matt know how to do that. Akari, no fucking clue. He has no idea what a map is, so he's starting to learn. Yeah,
so throughout your travels, Breger could show you a map and start to show you how to read it, and I'll incorporate your survival role into that and say you've got at least a decent understanding of how to read a map. Not so much that it's a full understanding, but it's general enough that you can look at a map and understand where you are and where you need to go. As far as charting a course, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, no, that's not his wheelhouse.
Eventually, a few days go by, and you guys arrive. Whoop! Hit my DM screen into Port Midpar. As you dock in town and you drop the anchor, you can see as Ezra, Nagarathu, and Captain Breger exit the ship. Well, son, keep an eye on the ship with Stradmule and Thadmule there. We're going to see if we can't find ourselves a man who knows our way around and through the Old Damn Isles. So
absolutely, Breger. I'll be here. Let me know if you need anything.
Half a day goes by, and eventually he comes back with what appears to be a very tall, very built lizard folk man. And that is the end of your...
Have I ever seen a lizard folk?
You have not.
Okay. I did not think I would.
Which this would be Zach's character, if you couldn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I figured a lizard folk is not too common, so...
but that is the end.
What path could I have taken to run into Alyssa's character?
Going with the red woman.
Oh, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay.